with unbearable sorrow to run where the brave dare not go. Getting calls now. To find the unrivalable law.
Good. I'm going to enjoy it this morning.
A tongue just
We get the knees. Yeah, I will. Good. Thank you for calling in. Okay. Yeah, bye-bye.
The unreachable star.
Damn, true.
This is my quest to follow that star. No matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to be willing to march, or maybe fight. To be willing to march into hell for a heavenly.
No, you're good at the high note. That wasn't even a high note.
No,
They don't know the
if I'd only be true to this glorious quest. Here we go now. That my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. That's enough of that.
I would say,
How's everybody?
y'all can share the, either far mic, y'all can share the far mic, everybody's good. We'll be on in like a minute, so y'all can rush and get. We gonna get loose, ladies.
Mr. Mayor, Chief Reported Day, Mr. Moscato, the greatest man walking the face of this earth.
So you want to start with him first?
Who? He's recording. That's our videographer. We talking about
Okay,
Nate.
okay,
Nate,
One for all.
you know?
How about Nate's not here today?
I don't know. I think Chief just had a segment.
Okay.
You guys can sit here.
We're on in 30 seconds.
Share this with everybody.
You want to take over?
I was just asking for you for one.
You guys can, there's 2 seats over here.
Okay, so what's better?
You want this? You want the spot?
Yeah, with that mic.
All right.
You sure?
What do you want? What would you like?
Yo, so y'all can put the headphones on, they work. Just mess with the leveler on the headphones. We're on there too.
You hear that great singing? We almost killed himself.
Nah, yeah, that was
He
hilarious.
said that stupid joker sing.
I'll tell you that much. What's going on? Same bad time, same bad station. It's your man Keith Report, aka Mr. Moscato, Sir Lord Keys, the Thor, the greatest man on the face of this earth. Checking in. We got our lovely guests, and we have our, go ahead.
Kunta Kinte in the building. Nathan.
And I'm Trooper Joe, and I'm here to keep it real for you. And we have 2 very lovely guests that's here from
YW,
go ahead.
the YW, YWCA. I'm gonna say YM.
So you guys can introduce yourself. You guys like.
Yes, we got Gabby and lovely Maritza Cruz. Maritza been on before. And Gabby, is this your first time? Gabby's first time.
Got to talk right into
You gotta talk into the mic. Come on now. I know you're all chilling in. Let's go.
So you want introductions?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Gabby from the YWCA.
Speak into the mic.
I do marketing and resource development.
And hello, everybody. I'm Maritza Cruz. I am the new Director for Racial and Gender Equity at the YWCA.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations. I wish we had an
New.
applause button.
New.
Yay! You know, about time we get some people that's passionate about their stake in their culture. You know? That's what people at the table. I remember when I first came to Worcester, people weren't at the table. Now we're not at the table. Yeah, and shouts out for the event that's coming, talk about that real quick.
So on Friday, which is April 29th, we have Stand Against Racism events, which is a series of 3 different events at the YWCA. The first is a leadership breakfast in the morning, where we have a presenter coming, Direction Raja. She's from the Washington Peace Center in DC. and she's coming to talk about our theme this year, which is girls of color and how they're affected by racism. And then in the afternoon, we have a free community event in our gymnasium at 12. Anybody can come in, and that's a little less formal presentation of the same topic as the morning, with more of a workshop feel to it. And then in the afternoon, we have a celebration of diversity and culture. That's at Worcester City Hall from 3 to 5, where we have a lot of different groups come out. There's spoken word, dance, music. Jamil Adams is the host for that. He's the Dean of Student Life at Brandeis University. He's a great personality and very supportive of our events. So that's all that we're doing on this Friday.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Okay, Maritza?
I wanted to ask you guys something about standing against racism. So it's like probably like the going on the 10th year, maybe 7th year. Why you guys decide to focus on women and on this event when you stand against racism? Because usually it's like, you know, just racism in a whole. Why you guys decide to focus on women of color?
So originally, Stand Against Racism was an event that was spurred by 2 different YWCAs that are in New Jersey. And last year, YWCA National took that over. So they now spearhead this event every year. So there are actually 44 YWCAs across the country that participate in Stand. So last year, they started having a theme. Last year's theme was racial profiling. So we don't have to follow the theme, but we choose to. It's just smart to actually have a specific topic around racism to discuss. So this year they chose girls of color. Because YWCA is an agency that works to empower women as well as eliminate racism, it's just perfectly fitting because girls of color need a lot of help and need a lot of understanding, and we don't have that in our community. So.
And one of the things that needs to be, the reason that's also being highlighted is that women and girls of color are disproportionately affected, not only by gender issues, but also the racism and all the sexism and ethnicism that comes along with that, especially young Black and Latina girls. So this is really important. And so by having a theme, it really brings attention to all the different issues that racism affects in our communities. You know, and this is a real big one because, I mean, I think, you know, when you start looking at it disproportionately also how women of color are also incarcerated. You know, the economics, you know, that affects communities of color and affects more women and girls of color. So it's really important for people to be aware of that. So it is important to, I think, have a theme.
So with this theme of women in color, so
Women in color.
the girls in color, or how they say, yeah, girls. Because if I say girls,
Women
we
of
get
color.
we get in
In
trouble.
color.
Because we're guys, we can't say that. Young ladies of color. Now, your theme and your guest speaker, he's going to be talking just on the general kind of domestic type of things. He's not going to go into any kind of eclectic area like multicultural, multi-ethnics. You know, because there's a lot of people out there now, this generation, we have to say, there's a lot of kids that are black and white, you know, black and Asian, black and Hispanic, and they come from multi-diverse type of family type environment, so their social interactions would be quite different than somebody who just comes straight up from some one cultural ethnic type of background. They're going to address any of those issues? No?
So it's a short presentation time that we have. She's going to keep it somewhat general as far as all women and girls of color, instead of just focusing on particular areas and territories. And that's really all that this affords us to do. We want to just open the conversation with the people that are coming to our events. And then as we work with the YWCA, you know, we have several events throughout the year where we're bringing people back together and back to the table to further these conversations and ideally affect change.
Okay.
And I don't know, like I said, I'm passionate about that situation as far as kids and women of color. I know generally in Worcester, there are above the, like, I don't know, depends on who you call women of color. You know, because I think anybody who is, yes, other than is of color, but then you got people who say, you know, certain ones is, certain ones ain't, you know, but I think women of color entails a big demographic, and statistically they're doing good meaning like they're graduating high school, they're going on to college. Like I said, I'm passionate about this, so I went to Seven Hills focus group, and the women, you know, like I said, they were amongst the majority, but the young men of color weren't. They were scarcely there, and they were there at the beginning of the focus group, mainly like a reunion to see the women, you know, and that's just something, a connection I grabbed onto, is these young boys are like, yeah, they're impressed by these women, but once they impress their, you know what I mean, an impression upon them, like these women kind of dumb themselves down for these men, you know, and that, I know that comes with like self-worth and stuff like that, but I'm thinking maybe a course in teaching these women how to sometimes, you know what I mean, take that impression from a man and, you know, direct that into, you know what I mean, baby, I'm not content with the decisions we're making in our relationship, like, you know what I mean, unprotected sex, and as far as bettering their lives, you know.
Well, one of the things, I mean, when we're talking about stand against racism, you know, people always question, you know, why even have an event like this? You know, racism is ongoing. You know, it never stops. It's an ongoing issue. You know, it's yeah, exactly. And we need to start addressing racism by breaking it down, okay? Because it's something that infiltrates every aspect of daily life, of society, regardless of, you know, gender. And I understand what you're saying, Keith, but, you know, like what we're trying to do is really to bring awareness to people and say, you know, people think that, you know, by celebrating, you know, Martin Luther King Day, or by celebrating, you know, a certain day that has to do with that's enough. You know, we need to constantly remind people that the issue of race, especially in this country, like we've all seen in the past several years with what's going on with the whole, you know, Black Lives Matter, what's going on, you know, with the police, what's going on with, you know, women and men. This is every single day. So there's a lot of issues. We have to address so many issues that affect societies, the ills of society, but are more impactful in our communities of color. Okay, so what you're saying, you know, that's super important. But again, what we're trying to do is bring awareness to a certain part, you know, this is what's happening here, which a lot of people don't realize that, you know, yes, girls of color are severely affected many times, just like young men of color are, just like, you know, families are, just like, you know, you talk about health issues, health inequities, you talk about the disparities that exist in housing and income and class and so on. So we're just trying to do this piece here to remind people and keep them aware that racism is alive and well, and that we, all of us as communities, we have to try to make a difference to eradicate the disparities that exist in our communities. So this is our piece, that the YWCUW is doing this particular stand against racism. And, you know, putting action into words, that's why the position of the Director for Racial and Gender Equity was created, because their mission, our mission is to actually address racism and gender issues and so on. And so they put into practice by putting this position in and hiring me as a person who's been in this community for 40 years. This is my life's work, you know, addressing the disparities and inequities that exist in our communities. So.
Good, great, Marissa. Yeah, we have a caller. Hello? You need your headphones. The caller should be, hello?
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 How you doing?
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, this is Brenda Jenkins. How are you guys?
How you doing, Brenda?
Hey, Brenda.
Hey,
I'm
Brenda.
actually not on his mom.
Just recognize that it's important that we do continue to talk about the issue of racism, particularly around women of color. I think having the awareness to stand for racism needs to happen, and not just educating people that are non-minority, but I think we as women of color minority, we need to recognize that this exists. And I think a lot of times that we're fearful because based upon working in these systems and working in these oppressive institutions, I think a lot of times we want to use the excuse to say that socioeconomics, and we use every other excuse but the issue at hand of addressing racism. And I think it's wonderful that YWCA is looking at women and girls this year as a theme, and it's also for women of color to come together and recognize that it does exist, and how do we actually take that awareness back, whether into our workplace, whether back into our community, and create some type of intervention methods and how to break down those barriers that we're talking about, because it's even more intense today, particularly when you look at the presidential election, which had an impact on women and women of color. And then when we talk about wages and working, it all falls into place. So I think it's exciting that the YWCA is taking the lead, and hopefully after this week of all these things happening, there'll be some things moving forward with your role of implementation of women of color coming together and addressing these issues and really creating collaborative partners with those with the mission and work that the YWCA does.
Thanks a lot, Brenda. Thanks for. Does anybody have anything to say?
No, Brenda, thanks for calling, Brenda. I just want to ask you guys something else about. I want to ask you something else about the YWCA and exist over in Worcester for a long time, and I've seen a lot of issues that happen in the community as far as race go, even with women of color, in our community been getting attacked for a long time, and I don't see the YWCA stepping out of the YWCA's building to address some of these issues over the past years. They've been silent on a whole lot of issues that's going on in the community, just to be real with you, you know what I mean? Like a lot of other institutions as well. So Maritza, with you getting hired, are you gonna step outside the YWCA and so if an issue is brought up, I think a lot of women been attacked over the years in our community, especially the women of color, and I haven't really heard nothing from the YWCA. So are you looking to train something like that?
Well, to a point, I agree with you, and I hold accountable not just the YWCA, but all institutions and organizations in the city of Worcester. Affiliated with the YWCA, we have the Racial Justice Task Force with Joyce McNichols and a couple of other folks that are on there, also very involved with getting the stand going. But trying to address some of those issues. So there is some work being done, maybe not as obvious and maybe not as out there. My role as the Director for Racial and Gender Equity is to really work with the community, to really convene the community and say that this is not just an issue, for black and brown people. It's an issue of all of us. Because you know what, when a segment of our community is not doing well, it's going to start affecting the entire community. This is the wake up call, And one thing that I like to use, very clearly is that we have an opiate crisis here in Massachusetts. It became a crisis when it started to hit the white suburban communities. It's been wreaking havoc in our communities of color for decades, but not until it hit the white suburban communities did it become a crisis. So this is how I look at racism, and I look at all the sexism, and I look at all the isms that are out there, that has wreaked havoc in our communities. And so we as a community here in Worcester, we have to hold each other accountable. So yes, we are to be a convener. We are to constantly inform people that this is an issue, this is a problem, not only locally, but in our country. And I think for those of you who know me well enough, yes, I will be stepping out, because again, the YWCA created this position because they're now putting into practice what they've preached. And I hope that the community will hold me accountable, because this is what I will be doing. I'm excited about it. This is my life's work. I'm passionate about it. I cannot tolerate inequities. I cannot tolerate racism or all the other isms. I do agree with you, but you know what? Things change, and I need all of you right here in this room right now to work with me. To work with me, because this is a we issue. It's not, that, these folks are not, And I just want to say a shout out to Brenda Jenkins, to Mosaic, because I think as a result, we've all seen what has happened due to racism and people being silent. Okay, so thank you, Brenda, and like I said, as women of color and women and girls of color and people of color, we all have to hold each other accountable. And we have to hold accountable the community at large.
Yes, we do. Thanks, Maritza. Oh, man. Wow. That was deep. Too deep. But I'd like to get back to that later. I want to talk about standing. I don't even want to cut it off because I'll go into asking Maritza questions, but the purpose is for Stand Against Racism. The whole purpose for the event to stand against racism, not to badger it being about women. So I want to get back to, we're here for an event which is supposed to promote standing against racism. And I'd like Gabby to talk about that event, because we can ask Maritza about her position any other time. I'd like to talk about standing against racism. Go ahead, Gabby, please.
I'd let you know that Maritza's a part of standing against racism. And just like the organization is putting this on together, so it's good to know about what they're doing outside of the YWCA. So you can't have, everybody has these events. The time Martin Luther King's birthday, let's have a Martin Luther King event. You know what I'm saying? Then that day goes on, they go back to their regular day. You know what I'm saying? Why YWCA be doing this over 7 years? What did you have done prior, in between those years, with all this racism been going on? So every April 28th there's a stand against racism. You know what I'm saying? So what you doing in between? You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to know.
But you know what? Maritza just got hired.
I know, calm down. But my whole point was to asking Marissa that to see what she's gonna do in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't say Maritza's doing this now. I said, what you gonna do prior to when you get the job? What you gonna do?
That was the right question. That was the right question.
Yeah, I just wanted to, so people would know, like, it wasn't like out the box of standing against racism, because it is on the same topic.
I'm with that.
Yes.
I can dig it. I'm just saying, hey, listen, I love this show. It's Voice of the Voiceless. But I did have a question for Maritza then,
Well, now you juxtaposing a lot of things.
I'm just saying.
You want Gabby to, why don't you speak about your organization that
Let me speak to that, yeah.
She's the longest standing here. She's been in the wild.
Got all these thoughts in my head. And just back to what Nate just said, Stand Against Racism as an event, as a once-a-year event, has been building. It started as 40 community leaders in a room listening to a speaker. It's now gotten to the point where we're going to have 125 community leaders in a room on Friday morning listening. So that's a huge growth over the years. Last year at City Hall, we had 300 people in the community come out for our community rally. This year, we expect 600 to 700 people. So we're doubling that, we're growing it. We can affect change when we have more people involved and more people listening to us. So each year we've done more and more. Last year we did hold a couple of events on the side. We do International Women's Day, which is another celebration of diversity and culture. We've had a couple of panel sessions. We do some work with lobbying. So there are things behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see or read about in the Telegram and Gazette, but they are going on and they are happening. And with Maritza here, we're very excited because we actually now have that person, that staff member that's dedicated to it. We have a great leader. Linda Cavioli is great. She's outspoken. She's on a lot of committees. She does do a lot of work in the community, but she's one person. She also has a very big job. Now we have Maritza here, who's here just to focus on what we need her to focus on. So it's going to be a big difference. You're going to see a big change in the community in the future because you're going to see the YWCA name out there a lot more than you have in the past.
That sounds like a very positive and good thing to happen and everything. But racism is such a personal issue and everything. I'd like to get your stand on how do you feel about racism yourself, being one of the majority people in this world? You're kind of, I don't know, Irish and French Canadian?
Somewhat, yeah.
I can see that. So, how do you feel about racism? When was a time that you can identify in your life that you felt as though you were being discriminated against and being a second-class citizen? And how did that really make you feel personally? I don't know. You don't have to answer a personal question if you don't want to, no. But I would just...
I don't mind answering a personal question. It's something that I feel very strongly about. I am a white woman. I have white privilege. I recognize that on a daily basis. I have family members, including all of the children in my family, that are not white. They are of a different race. They are people of color. I worry every day about those children when they go out in the streets. I worry about my nephews. how they're being treated by the police force in the city. Personally, I'm very involved and very aware of it. I can't say that I have ever felt discrimination based on the color of my skin. I can say that I've been in a room or in a car with people who have been discriminated against and treated a certain way by particular people. So I've witnessed it, and I've been available to understand it as best I can, but I can't understand it because I was born with white skin and I wake up with it every day.
Yeah, well, I should have clarified that a little bit more. I was kind of hoping to get something about where you felt that you were inferior to anybody based upon anything, whether it be your shoe color or something, your shoe size, whether it be anything whatsoever where you felt personally that you were not in the majority, that you were in the minority, and you were being discriminated against and made fool of, or made any kind of thing out like that. Have you ever experienced anything of that nature?
Well, as a woman, yes, absolutely. Sexism is prevalent in almost every place that we go.
I mean, how'd that make you feel personally? That's what I want to try to get at, not the nice little stretched out thing that everybody talks about. Because like I said in the beginning, racism and all the isms themselves are a very personal type of issue. And people digest those in many different ways, you know? And that's what I would like to know. How did that really make you feel without all the political rhetoric?
It's aggravating. It's aggravating to be in a room of people or a group of people who don't appreciate what you're trying to bring to the table. It makes you feel like your education is not important, that the things that you're saying are not important. So personally, I would say my feelings on that are just complete aggravation, sometimes desperation, when you're trying to get a point across or trying to get something done, and you're not listened to for whatever reason. In my case, it would be because I'm a woman in the examples that I'm thinking of. So it's frustrating.
I want to ask something about the event Stand Against Racism. That's the 28th too, right? And that's what time? What's the time is it?
It's on Friday, which is the 29th.
Yep, 29th, and it's from what?
So there's a public forum in our gymnasium that's from 12 to 1. And then there's the stand at City Hall, which is 3 to 5.
Okay. I went to several of Stand Against Racism. I actually helped organize like the beginning stages of like the beginning ones. And one of the best times I seen Tim Weiss speak at one of the Stand Against Racism events, and that's like probably one of the biggest, one of my biggest fans when it comes to like somebody talking about racism and stuff. He knows his stuff a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to ask about the thing that you guys was doing at one time. You had CEOs come to YMCA's to come to this event. YWCA, sorry about that. YWCA you had like CEOs come to the event, and white CEOs that want to look at racism in a way. I never knew the outcome of that. Do they still come to this event? What happened? Why was they meeting up, and what was the outcome of that? If you know, Gabby. I know that was years back. I don't know if you know.
Yep. No, we still do. So that is our leadership breakfast, which is what starts us off Friday morning. So when it started, we had, as I said, a very small group, about 40 individuals that came that were business leaders, generally white men who were CEOs or presidents of businesses. So we've expanded that, and in doing that, we've expanded the audience a little bit. So we have those same folks that come. We have some people that are doing action in their businesses and organizations. Then we have a lot of social service organizations that come. We have leaders of communities of faith, all different faiths. Because what we do is we have a presentation by that keynote speaker, and then we do roundtable discussions at the end of that breakfast so that everybody walks away with a sense of purpose and an action for the year ahead. And by having a mixture in the group of people that are there, we're sure to open those conversations so that people who may not understand what we're talking about because they've never personally experienced it are sitting at a table with somebody who at least understands it or works with people who do experience it on a daily basis. So it has much more of a presence and much more of a reality, you know, when you can have somebody at a table give you an example of what you're talking about. So then when they walk away from there, we ask them to engage their employees, their community organizations, and having them come to our follow-up events, which are the more open, a little bit less formal, the presentation in the afternoon, the community workshop, and then the stand at City Hall at 3.
What did like one of these directors or CEOs of these organizations accomplish within this time? Like what did they do? Like you said, they go back and talk to their employees about racism, but like give us an example of what they're doing, what they're trying to achieve with this CEOs and business owners coming together and talking about racism. What they're trying to accomplish.
It's more so we want people to make their organizations more diverse, with an understanding and the need for that and the benefit of that. So we do have some organizations that come to us for resources and then go back and they have trainings within their organization, not only from the management level but also all staff. So we have had some great feedback that what we've started has sort of continued and gone through. And it's not everybody, and we can't force that on everybody, but we do recommend it. And by keeping to bring these people to the table and have these conversations, we hope that eventually everybody will open up to create those programs within their own agencies, and then more and more agencies, and we hope for this trickle effect.
Because you said you brought in CEOs and everything to help diversify their organizations and stuff, where do you get the pool of people that go in there that can be the people that diversify the population of their organization? By that what I mean is, I'm just going to say with the girls, because we're talking about the girls of color and everything, where are you going to draw the girls of color to be able to go in and get a management job or anything? You guys got anything that kind of works in that area? For the girls of color, kind of inspirational things to tell the young ladies to meet with the CEOs, to tell them that in the future, if you follow this track and everything, I got a position for you or something like that, or internships and those type of things that come out of the high school level, not so much out of the college levels and stuff. Does your program for the day in the leadership program kind of address that kind of problem?
So on a small scale, yes. And we'd like our efforts to get larger. But what I can speak for is the YWCA, and we have several programs that work for young girls that are in middle school and high school, and they pair them with mentors in the community who are company leaders, and they are usually paired up in 6th or 7th grade. And then these mentors will follow them through all the way to their high school graduation, ideally encouraging the girls to reach their potential as best they can, to help them overcome barriers that they might not know how to conquer otherwise. And so far, they've been great successes. At our annual meeting this year, we actually have one of our Girls' Choice girls that's going to be coming and speaking with her mentor to talk about their situation and how our programming has helped this student, just excel.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question. You have them on the leadership table to show the rest of the girls out there that, yeah, you can accomplish these things if you put your heart and soul into it, and a little bit of that sweat that rolls down off the forehead, and that'll be a good. That sounds like a great program that you got going up there and stuff. I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
Thank you. We're very proud of it.
I think you just might go to a bumper break real quick. Go a quick bumper break. We'll quick break and come back. 91.3 WCW, Voiceless.
Back with you, same bad time, same bad station.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys about, like just to switch it up a little bit, just like take a topic that's out in the community. Another good topic too is one about the North Carolina, the law they have in North Carolina about using transgender people using the bathroom. What do you guys think about that? That's why I want to hear what you guys think about that. I'm gonna kind of like do a curveball right there.
We've always we already implemented those changes. Within the YWCA, that's a non-issue because that's something that we've already done. Where basically our bathrooms are, gender and family open because we know that's a reality out there. I think it's sad. Again, that's another form of racism and discrimination against the LGBT community, especially people who are transgendered and I think it's ignorance and it's hateful. I think what we can do as communities is to really speak about these issues. Again, when we start breaking it down, there are so many issues affecting our communities. And if you think, that issue with what's happening in North Carolina, I'm glad that they're getting walloped right now with, so many events and money financially pulling out, which I think that speaks very, very strongly, because it's gonna make, I know that there was another state that was actually thinking about doing that, and they said, oh, no.
They seen the
They
backlash
saw,
from it, right?
they saw the backlash, and that's what needs to happen. When you have something of an inequity like that happen, that's what has to happen, a backlash. A backlash, and the backlash usually happens where it hurts, in the pocket. That's how things get done. But we at the YWCA, this is something that we've always, been very aware of and always worked on, and actually I think ahead of the curve.
Do you guys have a lot of transgender women that go to YWCA?
We don't ask.
Yeah,
So we don't know.
Don't ask, don't
To
tell.
be honest.
That's not our business.
If somebody identifies that way, we have a lot of services.
Yeah.
We have domestic violence services. Everything is open to everybody.
Speaking to the man.
You guys do the little things.
Sorry. Everything is open to everybody. We don't ask.
Yeah.
If somebody chooses to disclose for their own personal reason, then that's fine. And we just roll with it. But we keep everything open, whether it's a bathroom, counseling, swimming pool, locker rooms, whatever people need to use is what we have available.
All right.
Yeah, I tried to talk about that last week a little bit on the transgender issue and everything. And South Carolina, I believe in the near future they're going to pass Chapter 11 because they were broke before this thing even broke. So this is notoriety for them, So I don't know if the economics really touches them by doing what they're doing. Can't hurt. Yeah.
And one thing that people need to be aware of also, that when these bills are passed, they always sneak in a lot of stuff into that.
Yeah.
It's not just the issue of the bathrooms, they made this big thing, but in there they also snug also the affirmative actions, clause for a lot of, for the state basically, where, now you don't have a right if you feel that you've been discriminated against because of your race, because of your color, because of your orientation. That has been affected, which a lot of people don't realize. So, when things like this happen, we need to people focus on one thing. And this is, again, the people who are trying to get it across, the transgender, the bathrooms are, it's going to rape and perverts coming. It's really awful. It's really terrible how this spin happens, and so you get distracted away from the other issues. And so you have these other things that were snuck into it, which people are now realizing that they just got, in that state, they're realizing, waking up and saying, oh my God, we weren't even aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
So.
They fill it up with a lot of stuff.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Back on what you said about white privilege, I've had a hard time trying to understand what is this white privilege. I really don't understand white privilege. I don't get it.
Yeah, from a white person, not from you.
Yeah, I heard a lot from the black people and stuff like that. It's like, and it always comes down to, well, if two people get arrested, it's like, I don't get arrested.
I think it's
Not what I do. So I want to know what is this?
I told you in so many different forms,
Yeah, he
Joe,
told
like
me.
it's just like picking that one isolated. You're picking that one isolated thing. I told you like a wide range of things. That's a white privilege is. I already told him 1,000 times. If you want to give your point of view, you can give your
Well, I
point
want her
of view.
point of view,
Or if you believe it's true or not true, I just want to see your opinion on that.
I do believe that white privilege is true. There are many different reasons why somebody with white skin has privilege. There are studies about it. There are schools about it. I'll give you one example that's a little different than getting pulled over by a police officer. I grew up in high school in Worcester. We used to, as kids, as students, we used to always go to the same restaurant when, after an event. So then all these groups of kids would go to the restaurant. My best friend in high school, he had darker skin. He was a man of color. He was Turkish and Puerto Rican. When we went to that restaurant, our group would always get seated completely in a different section of the restaurant, treated differently by the wait staff, because we had a man of color in our group. That's the difference in privilege. As a white person walking with a group of white folks into the restaurant at that time, I would not have experienced that situation because everybody else was seated up at the front of the restaurant, treated very well by the servers. Because we had a man of color in our group, they assumed that our group was going to be whatever, loud or rowdy or not tip well or whatever it was, whatever their thought was. But that's the difference between privilege and not privilege. There are things that I don't have to think about. I'm automatically treated a certain way. because of the color of my skin.
I guess it's a personal issue that the white people think that they're treated more equally and more fairly than black people, and black people make a personal choice to feel as though they're treated less than somebody else.
It's not personal.
Because I really can't get
It's not a personal
No.
choice,
You
man.
know what?
It's-
Racism is not personal.
No, I'm not talking racism. I'm talking the thought
but you're talking about white privilege.
The thought of white
The
privilege.
thought of white privilege. Some white people feel that they are discriminated.
I'm
white-
sure they do. I feel as
all
though
those
I'm
Donald
better.
Trump supporters, they want to take America back. They're like,
But-
let's make America great for who?
Yeah, but
For
okay.
who? You know what I'm saying? So if you're talking about racism
Yeah.
and white privilege, you know, so you got some white folks that don't feel that they have that privilege.
And I
They
don't care
really
nothing
don't.
about
It's
them.
automatic that they do get it. It's
Yeah,
automatic.
well, that's
you
the
know,
personal
and so
issue.
it's not a personal choice on racism. You know
No,
what?
I'm not saying choice. Well, kind of like choice. It's a personal issue within her mind that she can go into place and be treated more than me, better than I am.
No, that's the
Right.
reality of society. That the
Yeah,
society in which
but
we
for
live
me,
in.
the personal issue, I really don't care. I go into place if I want to get something, I'm going in to get it. I don't care how this little guy treats me. I'm the one throwing the tip. You treat me bad, my coffee's not hot. I ain't leaving you anything.
No, I
you treat me
understand
good,
that, but what
I
I'm
throw
saying-
a 10 down on
This
you.
is
Roy.
just-
We're not saying that you
Yeah,
have
we're
a,
not
we're not
saying
saying you
that.
have a choice to
No.
take it a certain way or not. We're not saying that
Why
like
I
Cupid
can't-
Joe can say, you know what, I don't care about this.
It-
Like
it
I understand you can
exists.
do that. You're an
Racism
individual
exists.
person.
It's a reality.
You can say,
But that's
you know
what
what,
I'm
this
saying.
doesn't affect me. You can individually say, hey, this doesn't affect me. I don't care. They treated me messed up. Wow, I don't care. You can do that. We're not saying that.
Oh,
but
okay.
we're saying there's a prior to you getting treated unfairly when you stepped into that restaurant or business or whatever, you got treated a certain way because of your skin color. But regardless, if you accept it and don't care about it, you got treated a certain way because of your skin color. If somebody else came in that store and there was a white skin, they would have got treated differently than you. That's what we're saying. That's what privilege we're talking about. We're not saying that me, Nathan Pickens, I can be hate and be mad about it, or I can be like, oh, I don't care, it doesn't affect me. We're not saying you can have a choice to do that. We're just saying that it exists in America, and that's the way it is.
So I'm hearing that this is a thought process that
No,
exists.
it's not a thought process.
That exists in America, and me personally, I have a choice whether I want to accept it or not, right?
Yeah,
and the
that's-
white people have a choice whether they want to feel it or not. And the people that
No,
working
white people
in
don't
the-
have a choice, man. They
They don't
get
have a
it.
choice.
They don't get a choice of having white privilege or not.
Listen, okay,
They
I
get
still,
the white privilege.
I'll still work on trying to understand this kind of thing. I don't
You
get
black,
it.
I'm surprised. You black, I'm surprised you don't understand it yet, man. For real. But let's switch this up. Let's change it up.
All right, yeah, let's go.
I want to go back to stand against racism.
Can I ask a
no,
question?
yeah, after me. I just want to ask you guys something.
Wait, let me ask finish it. I only asked that question for you because you never
You gotta
answered.
catch this.
Wait.
You gotta catch this.
Because you never answered my question that I asked the original question. When did you personally feel as you were something different or anything? You went after when you felt somebody else was being discriminated against or something like that there, or any other thing like that except for something that you personally felt within yourself, and you said because you have white privilege, which to me made absolutely no sense to my question because I wanted to know when you felt as though you were the lesser person in the room.
Well,
You
true.
weren't the alpha dog in that room. You were the lesser person in the room. That's what I wanted to ask, and that's why I asked about the white privilege because you never answered my first question.
And I know Nate has a question. I can dig that. Would you like to answer that? Because I know Troop wants to hear. I guess you would never discriminate. I don't know. I can't say you would discriminate. You would discriminate against because you're a female all day. I can dig that. But I would say your experience would be when did you actually see your white privilege when you was with a black person and you took advantage of it and was like so.
Yeah.
I'm just saying because you're asking her a crazy question. Like
No, I'm asking
She
her
just
when
told
did
you about
somebody
white privilege and you're asking
when
her-
did somebody say, "Hey, you can't come in here because I don't like your base," or "You can't come in here because I don't like what you stand for." Have you ever experienced that? That's what I'm asking. If
No.
you can give
The
a
answer is
person,
no.
okay, thank you.
So maybe we should get some people who feel racism.
Yeah,
who feel racism.
Racism's personal.
But Nate has a question. My man Nate.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you guys to stand against racism. So this is really, so I want to hear from both of you guys on this one. How do you stand against racism?
Yeah.
Stand up.
How do you stand against racism?
I stand up every day of my life. I don't have a choice. You know, and I refuse to lie. And I'm not even talking about as a YWCA staff person. I'm talking as Maritza Cruz, a Boricua Taino woman, you know, who has had to deal with all of the isms since, you know, I was born. Because you know what? It's there. It's not a choice I was given. So I fight back every single day. I will stand up and I will speak up when something is wrong. And when it's done, I don't ignore it. I do not stay silent. And like I stated before, this has been my life's work, what I do. So I made the choice to be a warrior, to fight, you know, because racism is so prevalent and it does matter. It exists. It's there. It's here. And it's not only in the United States, but it's all over the world. But here in this country more so.
So how do we do it? How do we stand against racism? How? Matter of fact, my question for Maritza is, how do we get the community together?
I want Gary to answer the question too.
Hold your question. So how I stand against racism every day, honestly, the best way that I can stand is to speak to the children that are in my life. My personal philosophy is that the only way we can make a change in society is to work from the youth up. I don't agree that we should work from the top down. I have kids in my life, and I work every day to make sure that they understand that differences in people should be celebrated, whether it is because of race, creed, orientation, whatever it is. That we should be exploring things and excited about things instead of judging people based on something that you can see with your eyes. Because if we all lose our sight, then what are we going to go on? So that's the best way that I make a stand against racism. The other part is not being afraid to talk about it. It is very difficult to be in a room full of people of color and be the one white girl that can be a part of this conversation.
Here's your answer to my first question.
So I don't feel a particular way. It's just a difficulty because people look at me and say, hey, you know, you're the white girl. What do you know? And you're right. I don't know what it is to walk in your skin every day.
Yeah, that's what people of color get every day. That's what I was trying to ask for the first question. You felt a little bit of what people of color feel every day of their life, that they go into a room and they feel like their voice isn't being heard because they're first being objectified by their color. And you just said what I was hoping that you might have felt sometime, that you were being objectified by your color and you didn't like it.
It's not even that I didn't like it. I just understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, but you didn't like it. Just say the truth. Did you like it?
No, I didn't.
Of course, that's the whole thing. Not rationalize it. It's a personal life type of thing.
But to me, I don't think it's different where she's coming from.
Why?
Because when I'm gonna tell you right now. Because when you're you saying, oh, what was wrong? Are you alright? You good over there? I'm saying, like, you know, when we're getting, when racism is putting on black people, that's why I say it's different with her. When she's in a room full of black people talking about human rights, being like, you're messing with these people's human rights. You can make her feel proud that she's the only white person in the room standing up against what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Opposed on the other side, when you get in racism towards you, you feel like you're low. You ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? She's not gonna feel like she ain't nothing in a room with a group of sisters and she's fighting with the sisters. What would she feel anything about that?
She did.
No, she didn't. She didn't say she felt bad. She felt a type of way where she can't really express what the black woman is because she's not black. You know what I'm saying? That's not she's not losing privilege that way.
She can't be black, but she did feel as though her voice wasn't powerful because she wasn't.
You're putting words in her mouth now. Now you're putting words in her mouth.
Exactly. You asked me to answer, and I did. And then you're trying to twist it.
Yeah, she's
not saying
that's not what I said. She didn't say she felt powerless.
That's not what I said.
She didn't say she felt powerless.
Yeah, if you ask me, I think
you didn't like it. That's what comes down to. You said you didn't like it.
No, I did not say I didn't like it. I said I understood where it was coming from.
So
there was no dislike to it. It was a complete understanding of why.
Yeah, right. All right, true. All right. Yes, please. Yo, and that's crazy because me and I want to tie this into the conversation about the police me and Will had earlier, and I feel like that's like I think my solution what is stand against racism is white people should be calling other white people out. Like, you know what? Listen, you're racist. You're racist, you know what I mean? Or if anything, lure them into a racist conversation on camcorder, you know, like, boom, gotcha, you're racist. I knew you was a racist. I'm just saying, because that's one thing white people hate is to be put on the spot, you know? So when they put on the spot, they like, oh,
I ain't going there.
I'm just saying, they need to be put on the spot. Why you ain't going there?
Because I don't see what it
I
gets.
don't know what they don't like. I don't think they care.
That's the only
If they
solution
got
I've
the
heard.
power, they don't care if they've been put on
That's
the
the only
spot.
One of the
solution.
biggest
That's the
problems-
only how I've heard all day. Is
I
so-
think when making assumptions about anybody is the mistake that, because you know what, this is the same thing they do to people of color.
What are you
Okay,
assuming?
assumptions
What's
are
assuming?
made right now. When you're talking about, well, people don't like this, they don't like that, you're making an assumption.
What
And
did I
it's
say
just-
people don't like?
So white people don't like being put on the spot.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay,
Call them
so
out. Call them out on being a racist.
that's an assumption.
And see what happens.
Just like,
That's
you
an
know, you can talk about,
option.
yeah, but
That's
you
an
can,
option.
yeah, but no, you're making an assumption.
No, I'm giving
Just
a
like,
solution
you know
to a
what,
problem.
I have issues with people who make assumptions about, say, for example, Puerto Ricans. They'll make an assumption because, you know, this is what they think. So I think we're treading, you know, very thin ice when you start making assumptions. I'm not and
Yeah.
you can't make an assumption about an entire group of people. You know, some people, yes, they don't like to be called out, and others, actually, you don't know that.
Well, call them out and find out. That's the solution. Does
I think
anybody
it's
else
cool.
have a solution
I think-
on how to stand
I
against
think
racism?
a lot of the white people that get called do a good job with throwing it on the run and being politically
Exactly,
correct
yeah.
the way they, you know what, I didn't mean like that.
don't
There's
make
groups of people to this day who be like, yo, you're racist. And they're like, no, you're racist for telling me you're racist for bringing up racism.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They don't care if you call people out. They got a good way to manipulate it and make it protect
Well, you
them.
know,
you know?
So what do you do to stand against racism then? As
That's
a white person.
I'm saying, like, as anybody, man, like, I don't have
Thank
the
you.
solutions to these because people been doing these things for years, fighting against racism. We have people in our history that, you know, we have Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, whatever. You can name a bunch of other people that have been trying to fight against racism,
exactly.
stand against racism for years. Nobody have an answer. I'm really sick of
Well,
marching in
one
the
thing.
streets and doing all this stuff. People been marching, people been protesting.
So
I
one
can't
thing.
say.
You don't have an answer?
Of course, I don't have an answer. If I had an answer, that would be like, you know, the $1 million baby right there.
Well, we know the YW got an
So
answer. They got an event.
Keith, what would you do? What do you do to stand against racism?
What do I do?
Yeah.
I educate people. I educate my young black men out there, you know, about that whole privilege thing. The privilege just dates back to the allocation of funds. So that's what I look at. I tell them, listen, when someone's privileged, you look at what they inherited. And at the end of the day, I'm more of troops yoke. Pull your bootstraps up, you know, because I only allow, if I allow somebody to treat me racism, then that's power to that. But if I'm the one with the money coming into your store to buy something, I got the power, you know. So racism, I feel, is structural. It's bigger. Like I feel the YW is poverty pimping. I feel like they're a big, you know what I mean, stakeholder in that racist part. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean, it's structural. It ain't how I feel about it because I don't feel an individual can hold me back. Now, can the YW hold me back? Yes.
I think that you guys have got a great program and it's got a lot. You guys got a lot of passion and do a lot of work and everything. My questions were more personal. And for me, what I do against racism, I was a member of AIM. I'm half Indian and stuff. I was a member of AIM. You know, I was with Joe Colorado, all kinds of people in South Dakota, and all kinds of stupid stuff like that.
It's not
you know,
stupid.
way
I
back,
feel you
way
because
back
you know
in the
what?
world.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. My people have been the Taínos, the nation of Puerto Rico, which is still a colony, one of the last colonies left on this planet, has been under the oppression of colonialism for the past
now they
almost
wanna throw-
600 years.
They want to throw
You know?
Puerto Rico
So-
out there as being
Word,
a colony
that's
and
crazy.
just Put Puerto Rico out to rest now and
That's
relegate them to the
Almost
to the
600
wolves,
years
to the world
of
of Haiti. You
colonialism.
know,
Yeah.
they
And
really,
that didn't just happen
No.
2 days ago.
I
That's
got,
been
Can I say
for
something?
500 years.
Yeah, that's what I see about racism. Racism's been around for many, many, many years. And I think, and I salute you women for doing what you're doing, not trying to do what you do. Seems like this is an ongoing thing. And I salute you for doing that thing. And there's never no easy kind of question, no answer to this racism until you get for me, until you're able to establish the power that speaks loudly. This power that makes the little mouse word and everything, it's all fine and everything, but it's still a little mouse. You got to be the big power, you know, you got to be the lion. When the lion talks, people listen.
And remember, every little grain of sand does make a difference. Because
Every little grain of sand?
And that's what the YWCA is trying to do with the Stand Against Racism and other things year-round, is putting in our little grain of sand to start addressing and eradicating
And
what is racism
that's
and
beautiful,
sexism.
but
You got 3 minutes left.
you got to couple that grain of sand with a linear movement of time.
So I'm
Because
gonna
just that grain of sand by itself will be blown away. You got to have that
Consistent.
time, and it always got to be
All right.
accumulated.
Well, we got solutions. I got another solution as far as when you talk about Puerto Ricans, as far as the census, having them be able to, you know what I mean, being able to identify as Puerto Rican and not that trickery of white. But we do have another solution. It's called Stand Against Racism, and the YW is putting it on. You know, I'm going to give you the last couple minutes to let people know about it.
So I will say again, the community events are free. We have the 12 noon session, which is a workshop session at the YWCA Gymnasium. It's open to anybody. Just come on by, bring a brown bag lunch. We have tables there for you. And we are completely open to suggestions. So if you come to an event that the YWCA is having and you feel that there should be a follow-up to it, or you feel that it could have had a better effect if it had been done a little different way, we're always open for conversation. We have a great Facebook page, YWCA Central Mass. That's where all of our events are posted. Take a look at it, see what you want to come to. The Stand Against Racism at City Hall, that's the best opportunity to celebrate. We have some open mic time. I'm going to put that out there between about 3:30 and 4. So there are some people, if they want to come and do spoken word or sing a song or what have you, that is available. And again, that's open to anybody who wants to come and showcase their own individuality and diversity there at that event.
Any talent that you know that's in the city is gonna be there already, that's gonna perform, or I know you got somebody's gonna be doing dances. Is it the people from the Boys Club, the kids?
Yep. So Indazone is coming from the Boys Club. Southeast Asian Coalition is coming and doing their lion dance. They came last year. They're
Awesome.
fantastic.
I've seen it, yeah.
There's actually an amazing group called Neighborhood Strings, which is a group of kids that are taught how to use wind instruments and string instruments. So they're actually going to come and do a song performance for us. So it's really cool this year. We have a big mixture of things that are going on.
All right, shout out to our listeners. Do y'all want to give any shout outs, Gabby and Maritza?
No.
No shout outs?
So thanks to caller Brendan Jenkins for calling in.
And
And I want to make one little statement. I want to be done with the show in June, so I'm gonna be done in June out of here. So I just wanted to make that announcement. So I'm gonna come to the rest of the Tuesday shows until June, and I'm gonna be out of here.
One more.
Yeah, so that's
We're
me.
gonna miss you.
Rocky X.
We're going to miss you.
Oh, so we got the countdown.
I'm probably
We
gonna
got
be
the
doing
Co-
something
we got
different.
the
I'm gonna
Kobe
be
Nate
doing
Pickens countdown.
some other show. Stay tuned. I'm gonna be doing some other.
Well,
I'm on a couple other radio shows coming up prior, but I'll let you guys know closer to the end of my June where I'm gonna be at.
We're going to miss you because we like to have you here. We like you because you the show. Yeah, I want to shout out to my lovely bride, Laura. I want to shout out to my 2 scientists, Mason and Max. And I want to shout out to all the guys in special operations. Hoo-ah.
Shouts out to me and mine. Have a great Tuesday. Voice of the Voiceless, Lord Keys. Have a great day.